everyone. Welcome to another episode of Data Dialogues. My name is Larissa Begood, and I am the head of marketing at Porch Group Media and your host of Data Dialogues. So joining me today is Todd Lebo. I have worked with him for years on research reports that we have done. He is the CEO of Ascend2. So welcome, Todd. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Oh, thank you, Larissa. I'm excited to be here as well, and just to dig into this story and hopefully provide a lot of helpful information to our audience.
So in case you haven't figured it out, today we are going to be chatting about how the data-driven marketer can lean into market research, which is exactly what Todd's company does. So can you tell us a little bit? Just love to learn a little bit about Ascend2 and kind of share that with our listeners today.
I'd love to do that. I've been a marketing professional since I started my career, and one of the jobs I had actually before Ascend2, I was working for a leader in not only research about marketing, but also training on best practices. And through that experience, I really saw the value of original research and how it can both inform users on what to do and how to do things, but then also it's such a powerful marketing tool as far as engaging audiences. So with that experience, I started with my co-founder Ascend2 with really the goal of developing actionable research that can both help users, but then also help companies with their demand generation, like I said, engaging audiences and things of that nature. So that's kind of how Ascend2 started, and we keep evolving over the years to try to not only have higher quality research, but also helping companies use that research for specific marketing purposes.
Yeah. So I remember, gosh, I'm going to age myself a little bit, but maybe 10, 12 years ago when I started writing blogs, looking for research reports that I could start, I could write blogs on things that were my company was related to, or things of interest on marketing. And I remember coming across the reports that you did, by Ascend2. And I was like, okay, these are pretty cool, So there and after, I would always look for your reports. And so there's so many different ways that a company can use research. So in my case, the company that had commissioned research for you, that was a thought leadership piece that I was looking for. And then when I wrote a blog on somebody else's research, I was sourcing back to their original research. So what a great way to get out some thought leadership and kind of have it spread just when you have other people sourcing that document. And you and I, Todd, have talked about a lot of different ways. Like when I first came to you to do our own research, you were like, there are so many use cases for using original research. I had originally came to you because we're like, well, we need a great way to generate leads. And what better way than if it's my own research? Because I was sourcing other companies' research. Well, then I was like, that's pretty cool. I want somebody to source my research. But there's so many other ways to do it. So I love, how are some of the clients using you?
Sure. We try to specialize in what we call actionable research. And so what that means is there's really two different ways that companies use our research. One is, I would say the primary way is, like you said, an external facing component. So companies come to us and they want to tell a story, and they want to be able to quantify the statements in that story. So they want to be able to use research to quantify the challenges that say that an audience is having in a specific area, and then obviously weave into that story how they can help solve that problem. So it's that aspect of, we have a story we want to tell, we want to quantify it, and we want to have, research is a little bit more what I would call sticky for an audience than maybe like a traditional white paper where you're saying, here's the best practices. we do that with research as well, but we quantify that story and say, here are the, here's the challenges people are having, here's how they're solving those problems, and a company can inject their solution into that story. So I think the first area is this external facing thought leadership, quantifying a story, but then also it can also be used internally, like data points that you may never publish, but you want to have, you're going out and saying, I think this is the messaging that we should have, right? I think these are the problems that we need to identify and that we need to build our campaigns around for this year, but I'm not sure. So I want to make sure, I want to quantify and make sure that that's the right story. That's the right angles that we should be taking. And we're going to use some of this research maybe to, to help validate those, maybe not necessarily for use in our external campaigns, but for internal messaging.
We have a new research report. I'm so excited, coming out through the work we did together. So this report is about how homeowners or home improvement marketers are using data, their customer acquisition channels, and so forth. One of my favorite things about these original research reports, you have this piece that can be used for public relations. So you're getting press out of it. You are getting thought leadership, brand awareness, lead gen. So it's ticking all these different boxes with this one piece. And again, I've been in the B2B marketing space for years. By far, one of my favorite types of content is the original research piece. So very cool. I just love all these different use cases with it.
And if you don't mind, actually, there's a couple areas that I would say that are sometimes overlooked. And actually, you guys have done a really good job of not overlooking these areas as far as use cases. One is with your executive team. So as your executive team maybe is going out and presenting at industry events or something of that nature, you're providing them some data points that they can use in their presentation. Can be it's a strong brand building exercise for them. Executives love that because they have a very data focused points, and they can kind of also show that that we're we understand the industry. Like we've done research in this industry, we understand it. It really helps them connect with the audience. And so sometimes that's a really good way to use the research. And then another area would be, we think about marketing, but you can also think about your sales team and the areas where like maybe providing some of the data points to your sales team that they can incorporate into their outreach to their prospects. So they might have a very warm group of leads that they're trying to keep in contact with. Well, sending out a very specific data point to, that they can use in their email outreach, for example, can be a very powerful tool.
One of the ways that we have also done it is when we're writing some lead gen emails, we'll start off with, did you know that 78% of home improvement marketers use social media as a primary channel for customer acquisition? I'm actually looking at the report on my other screen right now, so that is true.
Already crafting ideas, aren't you, Larissa?
I am. I'm like, let me write this down. Pause, please. But what's also fun is you and I just chatted about this the other day. And before I ask you, I'd love for some of the interesting, fun, maybe funny insights that you can share that maybe clients have asked in their research projects. But so one of the future podcasts that I'm actually going to be doing, Kristen, again, had this great idea, like, let's do like a Swiftie episode. So, it's data about Taylor Swift. It was a report run by Harris Poll. And I was like, it's fun. And people took like some fun angles to it. So research is informational, but, feel like have a little bit of fun with it too. So one of the questions that I just read was, what would you do to spend a day with Taylor Swift? One of the possible responses was eat a tarantula spider. So most Americans were, it was a very low percentage. But then the Swifties, the die-hard, like yes, 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 Swiftie, I am. It was like, absolutely, bring me the hot sauce. I'll eat a tarantula. So it was, just think of like, when you have some fun questions like that, B2B marketing, any marketing, but B2B marketing is sometimes you think of it as dry, but whatever type of marketing you do, like people want to laugh. So add in some of those fun questions and it's a great hook.
Well, they want to laugh and it can be a little bit of fun, like you said, for B2B, but also there's like this sliver of truth, right? There's this little insight still. So it's not, you're not like wasting the time of your audience, but like you said, it makes a very fun caption, engaging people into the conversation, but it's also, there's also a little sliver of, insight, perspective that you can still have in that. So we always say it's not a throwaway question. It's just a reframing of that question to be a little bit more lighthearted.
You also have done some pretty fun questions. You were sharing them with me the other day in some of your reports, and I definitely got quite a chuckle. So can you kind of talk about, like, you had a couple of great examples if you could share it with us?
Right. I mean, there's two here on the screen, and you can see how they're kind of fun. We always like to talk about when it comes to like data, for example, for a marketer, a lot of times data topics are, your vegetables of your meal. People know they should eat them, but they don't get excited. As marketers, a lot of times we get excited about the creative components of our job. And so this first one was just kind of a fun way to see, the level of enthusiasm marketers have when it comes to projects that are data focused. So again, helpful information, but just a fun way of asking it.
I like.
I think we can all relate. I think as a marketer, you can kind of relate to some of these responses and chuckle, but also relate to it.
Yeah, I'm going to read them because I just love these. So the question was, getting our organization interested in a project to improve our data orchestration is like: 1, watching the sunset, easy. 35% said, okay. Herding cats, nobody wants to do it. So yeah, it's kind of like that. Getting a root canal, just darn painful. 19% chose that one. And traveling to space, not for the faint of heart, 8%. I have watched many alien movies, and I know like people get trapped on Mars, they need to grow their own potatoes, and I've watched all the movies, so I'm not going to space.
Yeah, and there's, like you can chuckle at those, but there's some relatability there, isn't there? And
absolutely.
Both for yourself and the people you've worked with in the past, right?
Yeah. Okay, then just one more question I want to read. So this is another one from your projects. Can companies maintain brand authenticity while incorporating AI into their go-to-market strategies? First response, absolutely. You can strike a perfect balance, 49%. Second response, yes, but it's a little bit of a tightrope walk, which I get, 44%. And then the last one, no, they are oil and water, 7%. So this depends. And if you think the robots are taking over or not, I guess is going to be where you fall on that scale.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But that question provides a lot of conversational pieces to it, right? You can really talk through, because isn't that like with AI in marketing? You're trying to figure out if you can balance the benefits of AI with the authenticity of the voice of your brand.